Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Across Your Bow podcast, episode number 14. This is the first one of 2019. I am sirvenomik. That dude right over there is my man, Virtual Senpai. What up, Senpai? How you doing?
It's pretty good. Pretty eventful Tuesday. Can't complain. Can't complain at all. How about yourself, Venom?
Dude, I am average as hell. It's been a while since we talked. The last time we talked, it was an ungodly amount of time, about 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
It was
No worries,
ridiculous,
man. Lots of news.
No, it was a lot of news back then. So what you been working on since Christmas, man? Because this is the first podcast before Christmas, or since
Well,
Christmas.
I've been working on quite a bit in like the streaming area of things. As you guys know, or I've told you, I have made my partner requirements, and I actually put in my second application last week. So
Right?
hopefully
Well,
around
good luck with
Friday we'll
that.
hear if I get that big old check mark or not. Praying
Gotta-
to the RNG gods, praying to the Twitch gods.
Gotta,
But
gotta,
otherwise,
gotta maintain, bro. Gotta maintain it.
exactly. Otherwise, same ship, different day usually on ships. Been grinding for that hurricane color for the clan tag for Double O. We're working really hard for that. We're doing a lot of recruiting lately as well, like telling people, hey, we're showing interest, or people are saying, hey, we're showing interest in your clan, stuff like that. We've been picking up a lot of really talented players, like Ducky Shot from Bias. We picked up Desert Wolverine from a little while ago, and we're really starting to get into just gelling as a clan, as a competitive clan. So who knows? Maybe you'll see a 007 team in the next King of the Sea or something like that. Maybe it's a pipe dream or something. Who knows?
We never know, man. I mean, 007 did really well this year. So I mean, if you guys can get some guidance and some tips from the top clan, you guys, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. You guys can
Nope.
check out my man over on twitch.tv/Virtual Senpai with that 2 eyes. And you guys can also hit him up on his Twitter at Virtual Senpai if you guys want to hang out and chit chat with a weeb, because we all love the weebs here. Because I know I do. Guys, I am a sirvenomik, twitch.tv/sirvenomik. If you guys are here in the chat, thank you very much for being here. If you guys are over on YouTube, man, we'll leave links in the description below for my man's channel and his Twitter and my Twitter and channel as well. So you guys can come over here and watch it live. Watch it as it goes out averagely. So for me, it's been a Christmas, man. Had a good Christmas. Come back first of the year. First thing that happens of the year, they open up community contributors, and guess what? Your boy, is now a community contributor. So this was
Welcome to the big leagues.
there you go. Not only am I a community contributor, but Virtual Senpai is also a community contributor here in World of Warships. Absolutely fantastic. I absolutely had a blast.
May I also say that
yeah,
he is reformed. He is the reformed Venom.
the Dean of Reformation.
Slightly.
There you go.
Yes.
The Dean of slightly. Okay, so I still go off a little bit, but we definitely tone down the show a little bit to where it's less salty and irritating and bannable. Hashtag save General Dort.
Oh yeah.
My
Hashtag
man.
free Dort. Hashtag free Dort.
Hashtag free Dort, man. I love you, Dort, if you're out there.
The
Either
homie.
way, all right. So let's jump into the news. You got any special news that you wanna spit out there? There's really not much. I know the the new PTR is up and available now, with the third instance of the CV rework is out there now. If you guys have not had a chance to play it, go in now, because the next patch is 8.0 and it is scheduled to release at the end of the month, which is all public knowledge, and you guys can all find that. But if you guys want, I can link in the description below for you YouTube people. It is a I don't know. What do you think about this CV rework in its current state?
Well, just looking at the CV rework, I've only played it a handful of times because personally I am a surface ships player. But when I really want to get down to it, I can play a mean Saipan, I can play a mean Essex, a mean Enterprise. Just don't get me in the midway. There's too many fishing divisions out there. But going back to the rework, I view it as a double-edged sword. So the positive side of this being, hey, guess what? We're making CVs more appealing to the average player. Therefore, the CV main population is gonna balloon a little bit. There's gonna be more CV players around. because they're kind of watering down the content, watering down the mechanics, etc., etc., making it more accessible to the average player. But what I really don't like is that they're going to get rid of the RTS style of play, which is kind of what really made CV players leagues apart from other people's who do it. And it was really a battle of wits and minds and getting to know mechanics and learning as you go, and like just learning to outskill your opponent in a macro fight or an APM fight, which is kind of a disappointing thing for me to see. I mean, I loved that RTS style, but it has a lot of potential to be a potentially good thing for this game, and I look forward to seeing what it brings out in the next like month or so after.
There's a big contingent out there that everybody knows. Everybody sees it all over the place. They immediately, any kind of change that happens, they immediately throw up the red flags, and say, "Oh my God, it's going to kill the game. It's going to kill the game." It's not going to kill the game, people. It's not going to kill the game. The only time that this game will die is if they shut down the servers, all right? So there's a lot of people out there fear-mongering, and I don't appreciate the fear-mongers. Now, am I one of those people? I have some severe concerns with the CV rework, but in their current state, the current state of CVs are terrible. They're awful, and the only reason people don't realize that they're awful because nobody plays them. Nobody literally plays these CVs. If you look at the population of the server, how many percentage of the people out there legit play CVs? You got a handful of people that main CVs. You got maybe 15% that consistently play CVs.
Now, Venom, if I may, I wouldn't so far as to say that CVs are terrible to play.
Well,
I would say that the
play.
UI, or they're just terrible in that sense. I wouldn't say they're terrible in that sense. I'd say it's more the UI that hampers CV play, if anything. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you played a CV and you've had your game skipping across the screen, you exactly know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, all right. So I'll granted the UI is bad, but I'm talking about in general game impact. If you have a 45% win rate CV versus a 50% win rate CV, it's going to be terrible. And let alone even that, if you move up between 50 to 55%, it's still terrible because there's no skill. There's too much of a skill gap. There's not enough. The people are just not close enough in skill to make it work. And one CV out there with its perma-spotting DDs out there, it's frustrating as all hell. And so in the current state of CVs, they're pretty bad for the game, I think.
I can agree with some points of that, but then again, you get some things like a 45% midway player who is going up against an Asia reroll and a hack in a fishing division with a Wooster and a Minotaur. That's a bad time right there. That's where you get the mismatch of skill and the steam rolls when there's a CV in the game. And what do people do? They blame the CV. When in reality, it's because the other CV brought tools to help him win the game, which is kind of like walked into it.
There's also rumors out there that you're going to be able to roll 3 CVs in a division, which is not true.
I don't think that's true.
No, it's not true. It's been confirmed that is not true. You can still team up with 2 other guys, and if you want AA, then you can still fish it, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with people loading up a Saipan and landing a Flint and going to town. I don't have a problem. I've never had a problem with that. The problem that I've had with it is that the skill level based on the players is there is none. There is no skill level at 4 and 5. People don't really have to learn how to play this game or how to play CVs. It's all done for you. Auto drops, tier 4, tier 5. You don't have to have any kind of skill. So when you do get into somebody who's at tier 6 and has an idea of what's going on, they absolutely get hammered because they did not know about the manual drops. They did not know about the strafing. Like, I literally had a guy tell me in a tier 7 game or something like that, I strafed through his planes, killed all of his planes. He's like, "You're a hacker. How'd you do that?" I was like, "It's called manual drop." He's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I was like, well, there you go. So there's definitely a failure. I don't necessarily say a failure, but a fundamental issue with CVs in its current state. So moving forward into the new aspect, it's going to be awful. It's going to be awful. The CV players are going to be terrible for at least a month. unless they're just really pounding out CV games to learn how to play this thing. So you're looking at a very bad CV population coming up over the course of the next month and a half, before people start really figuring out how to do it. Now, some of these guys are going to have advantage because they've been on the test server, and if you guys have been on the test server and have played it, you're going to have an advantage over me because I haven't played them yet. And I like to wait for it all to come out and then just, do it on the show so you guys can see the progress. Look how bad I was to where I was now. Or look how bad I was then and how average I am now. That's kind of the way my mentality is behind it. My biggest concern is the dots. That as a big ship player, I'm not really a battleship player, but as a big ship player, my concern is how many fires am I going to be on? Am I going to be on so many more fires that my damage control party is not going to be able to keep up with it, and I'm literally on fire the entire game? If that's the case, then I would recommend that they reduce some of these fire effects so I can actually see things again, But I don't know. What do you think, man?
I think the dots have the potential to get way out of control, so I do agree with that. Whereas it will go, this is where I want to see where it goes on the live service to see if CVs really will ruin the game like this, or if it's going to be a non-factor, because we still have to see how talents are going to be reworked in comparison to all this with all this happening. So we're really just going to have to wait and see. But I do see dots getting out of control, and as if fires weren't already out of control. I know that's a hot topic for you. Definitely a hot topic, because you get caught on fire 4 or 5, 6 fires, but 6 fires? Nah, but 3, it's a little tough, especially when you get spammed by a Wooster and you just press your button, cooldown goes down, and you're getting out of range, and then another one comes up.
You're immediately on 3 fires again. Yeah, we've seen it. We've all had it before. You're playing a battleship, you get set on 3 fires. Well, you can't let that burn down, so you hit your repair button. Your 20 seconds goes down because you're playing an American battleship, and immediately on 3 more fires. It's frustrating. It drives me insane that there's that much. Now, I did what the chat asked me to do once I made community contributor, and I approached Sub Octavian in the chat there, and I asked him, I said, yo, is there some kind of higher fire chance right after that thing comes down? Because I inevitably, when I hit that button, the first shot that comes back at me, I'm on fire again. And he said no. He said the fires are there to counter the battleships. That's just the way it is, so deal with it. So I'm like, God damn it. And so I have to learn how to deal with it. So I've kind of gone off of my rants and raves about the fire chances and stuff like that, and but I did approach him. I did also throw this out there, and I want to get your opinion, everybody else in the chat's opinion on this, about how about standardizing the immunity times across the board, because there's some out there, the Germans, and they're 6 seconds or whatever they are, they're less than 20 seconds, and the max is 20 seconds. Now you can put on the damage control party immunities after you hit that button in the Japanese is 6 seconds, bro. Standardize that thing 20 seconds across the board, or here's the take that damage control super mod that you can put on your first slot instead of main battery mod and make that better, because if you can do something to make the fire chance just a little bit less, or I can be immune just a little bit longer, then things are going to get a little bit better. Now, I'm still going to be on fire all the time. I'm just going to have to learn how to deal with that. But if you can help just a little bit, because it is kind of out of control, and especially with the way my dispersion works on battleships when I play them, I don't know about you guys, I'm getting 2 volleys off in over the course of 45 seconds, and I'm hitting 1 or 2 shots, and they're hitting me with 8 million shots, and I'm on 6 fires in 45 seconds. So there's definite frustration there and a little bit of unbalance. But I'm not saying make battleships great again. I'm talking maybe close the gap a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
So what I'm trying to deduce from what you've just said is standardizing the immunity after a fire goes out. Yes.
No. The repair party immunity. It's when you hit your damage control party, there's that 20-second of immunity time where you cannot be set on fire, you cannot be flooded. While that cooldown it goes down, some of those on the repair party are 6 seconds, 6 to 8 seconds. The Germans and the other guys, the Japanese. So I'm talking maybe boost those up a little bit, so maybe we can survive just a little bit longer, not be on fire 90% of the game. I mean, I have games out there, and you guys can go check out the VODs. 19 fires I was set on in one game. With fire prevention.
At the same time, the thing is, though, this is where we have national flavor coming in, and if we take that away, some nations or
Don't take it away.
some premiums, for example, will, like the Massachusetts, will lose their flavor and their appeal. You're sure they have the Mimi secondaries?
Well, it's already got the 20-second immunity because it's an American.
Well, it gets a longer one after that, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure it does.
Standardize it, right? So you can. So all right, fine. So just boost this little doodad and boost that thing, and then you fix it. You boost the damage control party mod for Cole. Boost that anyway. That's my. I'm wondering what you guys in the chat think. Go ahead and post your comments in the section below, or you guys can, if y'all are here in the live channel, then you guys can type it in the chat, and we'll address some of your comments or concerns about that coming up. All right, let's jump into the first topic. What? Any more news that you want to talk about?
Nothing really. Just everything's been the same, really. Like I still have lots of codes to give away myself, which I'm not gonna plug here. But obviously,
give them away, and we can give them away here if you want to. Or you can go over to your channel. You want to give those codes away?
Well,
later on, like tomorrow or something.
Well, you have your own. You have your own. You gotta feed your viewers. You know.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, bro. I mean, guys, Senpai's going to be doing giveaways the rest of the week. Simple as that. Check him out over at twitch.tv/Viirtual Senpai. Hit him up on his Twitter, bro.
Anyways, first topic. I'm hungry.
You ready for the first topic? No more news out there?
Let's go.
Right, cool. Well, at least in news that I found that was important or interesting to me. Guys, first subject of the day. Buffs everywhere. Oh my God, we got 11 ships that are getting buffed. What does this mean for you? Well, we'll tell you what the boats are, and then we'll give you a little explanation on how we think that it's going to play, because there's no set time for these buffs to come out yet that I know of. I haven't heard. So either way, let's jump into it. What do you think? Wait, is there any ships out here? I know you've seen this list, but is there any ships out here on the list that you think need a buff that are not on this list?
Nothing really. I mean, the only thing I want is an HSF Harakaze HP buff, but that's about it. But looking at this list,
it is pretty rough.
Looking at this list, there are some ships that are very deserving, and there are some that you kind of look at and you say, huh?
Like, really? All right, man. Going into the first boat, the Agile, or Eagle, however you want to call it. It's the Tier 6 French destroyer. The torpedo range is getting a buff from 7 to 8 kilometers. That's it. 7 to 8 kilometers. That's the only buff on this. And you know what? That's okay. The Agile's at Tier 6. It's not that great at Tier 6. It's okay. It's okay, but this will give it a little bit more utility, and it doesn't have to get as close, and it can be a little bit more safe when it's dropping its torpedoes. What do you think?
Honestly, when the Eagle was first released, it had a 0.3 kilometer torping window, which was pretty ugly, which basically made the captain or the player playing it thinking, oh, this is a gunboat, and it's kind of got like the Farragut effect, where your torps have the X amount of this tiny little window to stealth torp from. But with this being said, I think they're kind of leaning towards what the La Terrible could is aiming to be if you spec it for concealment. So with this, it'll give the Eagle a ton of utility along with the smoke and that stealth torping ability, which is awesome. Torps aren't that fast, but they do hit hard, which is what I like about the boat. And I have a feeling we will potentially see a lot of steel clubbers down at Tier 6 using this destroyer, especially if you're a La Terrible fan like I am. You're going to see a lot of very, very skilled French destroyer players out there when these updates go live.
Yo, that leads us to just a speculatory point here. These flavors of these French boats so far: fast and strong, and this is the whole French flavors. They're quick as shit. You know, I mean,
they're fast and they harass extremely well.
Yes,
like I'm number 6 on La Terrible leaderboards, And two of my clanmates are respectively number 1 and 2 on the leaderboards for that boat on WoW's numbers.
They are.
And
They're
we
ridiculous.
figured it out, and it's an amazing boat to play. It's so much fun.
It's ridiculous, man. And not just the DDs, but I mean the cruisers are fast, and the battleships are fast. So this bodes well for the French destroyer line if and when they ever decide to release those when they come out, man. They're going to be fast pew pew boats. I mean, a little bit different than the Russian boats, but they're going to be good. All right, moving on. The Dunkirk, or as I like to call it, the Dunkirk Q, is going to get a buff of its main battery reload. It's going from 28 seconds to 26 seconds, which is fantastic, and I absolutely love that. I love the Dunkirk. A lot of people hate it, but I think it's fantastic. I love it, and this will let me get more shots downrange a little bit faster. Whew. Thoughts?
Oh, yes. The 28 to 26 seconds, a 2-second difference may not seem like much, but when you're taking HE in a French battleship, now that's going to be the difference between life and death. Now, we all know French battleships are very, very soft and HE susceptible. Mm-hmm. So this buff, while you're taking damage, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Exactly the same thing what I think when I'm playing the Henry or the Repub. Yep. Exact same thing. This is going to make Dunkirk an extremely deadly battleship at tier 6, and when taking damage, other players are going to have to look out for it.
It's already pretty deadly, number one. Number two, that's also helps your switch over, changeover, your reload time from HE to AP. I swap in the French boats. I swap constantly. So this is another boat that has pretty decent HE. It's a 35% fire chance. Swap back and forth on this HE and AP, man. If you bow in on somebody or they're bowing on you, just sling the HE, set them on fire, get up beside them, and then just blow them out of the water with your AP. Man, it's great. That's great. I like this. This is good. This is a good buff for me personally because I love this boat. All right, one of the older boats out there is getting a buff now. Let's talk about the Sims.
Ooh.
The Sims is getting a buff now. It's actually getting. I don't know. It's getting a buff to its torpedoes. All right, so let's just start here. The small torpedoes go from 5.5 kilometers to 7 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
Decent buff. And then you getting from 9.2 to 10.5. So basically you're getting slow Fletcher-sized torps. Or Fletcher length torps. And their damage buff is going from 8,500 to 9,667. Which is great because those torps don't hit at all, and then they're also the reload on them is going to 76 seconds, which is a little bit of a nerf. But hey, you gotta take the good with the bad. So higher damage Sims torps, nice. Longer range Sims torps, trolly as hell. Slow pedos out the door, bro. What do you think?
I think Wargaming chose the wrong tier 7 premium and buffed it. I honestly do not think the Sims needs a buff at this point. It was okay at its current state. You can gunboat with it, you can torp boat with it, you can do whatever you want. Versatile. But a destroyer, I want them to see buff that has been incredibly power creeped is the ORP Błyskawica. The Błyskawica has faded into the back of the room, back of the crowd, ever since they got rid of the stealth fire nerf.
I don't know, my man
needs to become relevant once more. I want to see them buff it. Give it a heal or something, because it is an Eastern Bloc destroyer technically. I mean, it's like buff that
needs
thing.
Something. Yeah,
buff it. It needs something. They need something to make it like more like attractive. It annoys me.
I don't see a lot of them anymore. I remember when I first started playing the Tier 7 rank season. Was the third rank season that I played, and my lord was Mijash. Everybody knows who Mijash is. That was his boat. He got into that damn Błyskawica. I like to call it the Bliss Khalifa, but that's just me. He got into the Bliss and absolutely dominated Tier 7 destroyers. And I was like, oh my God, this boat is amazing. I cannot get this boat to work for me. I've tried it as a gunboat. I've tried it as a long-range boat. I've tried it as a torp stealthy boat. I've tried it as pushing caps. I've tried it as a bully. It just doesn't work for me. I like the boat, and I think the boat is fantastic, and I know the boat has some serious potential if the person plays it right. It just drives me nuts that I just cannot make it work. So I would like to see, that's something that I would like to see as well, because I've had it forever, and I just cannot get it to work right for me. So,
And going back to the whole Sims thing, like I can understand why they would buff the close range torpedoes to make them more appealing, but I really didn't need. I don't think we needed to see the long range torps get buffed because they were fine for the tier. It would force the destroyer player to be a lot more smart. But at this point, with 10.5 kilometer torpedoes, it's questionable to me.
well, I mean, if you're counting on the sim speeds to do anything spectacular, then you're thinking about it the wrong way. Those things are. I basically just throw them out there for lulls, man. I don't count on torpedoes when I play DDs because they're so random that you're actually going to hit anything. Is it going to make a difference? Hey, those laws go about another kilometer and a half further, so 10.5 kilometers on a Sims, whatever. It's going to make for some nice, interesting meme jokes. You got hit by the slopedos at 10.5 kilometers and randomness because people forget about them. You drop them out there, you roll around and be like, he dodged them, and then he ends up having to dodge something else and rolls right back into him. I mean, you guys have seen that. You've seen it with the Asio Torps. You've seen it with the slow 20K shimmy peds. This is just another one of those. But this time when they actually hit, they're going to do a little bit more damage. Another, 1,167 damage. What does that translate to? 4,500 versus 5,000. That's basically what you're going to hit. We're talking like hitting on a Magi or something. But either way. All right, Mayhem is the next one. It's getting a main gun reload buff from 4 seconds to 3.3 seconds main battery. So it's a better knife fighter. The Mayhem struggles a little bit, I think, in the current state at Tier 7 with the what's the Jervis out there, the Heidi out there. Tier 7 DDs are in a rough place right now, especially with stuff out there like the Flint, the Atlanta, the Belfast, the Boise, the Wavy. All of these cruisers are extremely dirty at Tier 7, and I think that's Tier 7, tier for tier, is probably the best cruisers next to Tier 10. Hands down. They're you can't argue with that.
Tier 7 cruisers, I mean, you can't really count the Miyoko as being strong because that was the dispersion buff was across the line from Tier 7 up, I'm pretty sure.
It was Tier
so
5 and up.
Tier 5 and up. So like the Furtalka, the Alba, everything else is going to be extremely strong in that tier.
They're all strong. Tier 7.
If you compare the Shores to the Bootiani, they're basically the same boat in terms of playstyle. Maybe the only real difference is like health pool and a little bit of concealment. One cruiser that I do think that people sleep on at Tier 7 is definitely the Abruzzi, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Mahan.
Yeah.
That boat, on paper, it has really high gunboat DPM, but in statistics, in sample sizes taken from games played, it is the butt of the Tier 7 destroyers. It is the joke of the Tier 7 destroyers. This buff, I'm not sure if it'll really truly help the boat become more competitive. Like, sure, the reload's going to be a little nice, but the thing is, like, it comes up against a boat like a Haida. It's still going to get alpha'd out. It doesn't really have much more in concealment. Maybe the torpedoes will be okay. I don't know. I haven't played the Mahan in a while, and from what I remember, I was really bad at it.
The torpedoes are terrible, and you're really not a torpedo. You're not as flexible until you get the long torps at 9.2. That's it. That's it. And that's after you get the Seahole, I think. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played a Mahan. If I'm going to go play Tier 7, Mahan is not the choice for me. I would definitely play the Hydia or literally any of the other ones over the Mahan.
Yeah, the Haida is definitely my choice.
All right, so there you go. Mahan getting a main gun battery reload buff. My name is sirvenomik. We're hanging out with my man, Viirtual Senpai. You guys can hit him up on his Twitch over at twitch.tv/Viirtual Senpai. I highly encourage it. It's a good dude and fantastic, except for he loses his laundry. At Viirtual Senpai over at the Twitters, bro. You guys go hit him up on his Twitter as well. You guys can follow him over there. I'll have links, like I said, below. All right, moving on into the first battleship buff here is the Hood. The Hood is getting a Sigma buff and a
Fuse
fuse
time buff.
timer buff. I mean, this is pretty cool. The Sigma buff is going from 1.9 to 2.0. It's a minor buff. Does it make a difference? Not really, because the hood has got two-gun chassis, and y'all all know my thoughts on two-gun turrets. I don't particularly care for those on battleships because they're inconsistent as hell. But the AP fuse timer is going from 0.003 to 0.15. Yeah.
It goes from 0.15 to 0.003, so it gets a longer arming time. So it penetrates more armor before the shell detonates. So, for example,
which is good.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing.
It's still short fuse AP, but it's still pretty good.
It'll get more Citadel shots for sure. However, you will be getting more overpin.
Yeah. A little bit of overpin, that's okay. You still get overpins anyway. You're aiming higher with these shells to begin with, so you can get a little bit of damage in that softer, smaller. Like if you're shooting the upper armor belt, I guess is basically where I aim. I don't know about you guys. That's where I aim. I'm not aiming for their citadels because I know you probably won't get through that torpedo belt. What were the numbers again? It's a 0.15 to 0.03, or it's 0.03 to a 0.15. I don't know. Either way, whatever the buff will be.
It goes from 0.015 to 0.033. That's the AP fuse delay now. So it's slightly longer, which means you'll have a higher chance of hitting the Citadel. However, you have a higher chance of getting overpins on ships as well.
Do you play the hood a lot?
I think once these buffs come through, I will start playing it more because the hood has always had historical value due to the battle with the Bismarck and the whole blowy uppy thing. Rest in peace to those who served on the hood. But it's been a great boat to kind of just look at because it's got this gimmick with the AA rockets, which will shred planes whenever you press that Y button. And that's what's really, really its gimmick. It doesn't really have anything too special about it. Its firing angles are garbage, but it's AA. It's very, very deceptive. And I think I actually may build a Yeah, exactly. The rocket AA. I think I may build a specific 19-point captain for the hood and start playing it more.
Well, wait a second. Are you building this guy for AA spec?
I think so.
It's all going to go to hell when the CV rework comes in and the AA rework takes effect too.
You're right.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm still thinking that it's going to be pretty strong. AA is still going to do things. It just depends. It just depends. So, any more thoughts on the hood, guys? If y'all have any questions, comments, or concerns, please go ahead and at sirvenomik, at Viirtual Senpai here in the chat, or at one of the mods, and they will get the question to me so we can address them toward the end of the show.
One more thing though, about the hood. With the Sigma buff, it has the potential to become the most accurate battleship at Tier 7, which is pretty scary.
Well, the next buff we're going to talk about will give it a run for its money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the Colorado, because the Colorado is also getting that same Sigma buff from 1.9 to 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bigger guns, if I remember right. I'm not sure what the guns offhand are on the hood, but
The hoods are 35.6 or 356s, I think.
So, either way, check it out, boys. Colorado getting a buff. You're going to get more hits on your Colorado. It's going to be... we don't know what the patch is, man. I don't know. Nobody knows when these buffs are coming out.
No idea.
They have not released that information. They just said these are the buffs that are up and coming for these things. So Colorado... Regardless of how slow it is, this boat is fantastic. I love the Colorado. You cannot play this to the outside. You have to play more mid-map. If you play mid-map on this thing, you're going to enjoy the Colorado a lot more. And now I've always said that the Colorado's dispersion is truly as all hell, because there's sometimes where you have, your shots go forward to back, look like a German battleship type of shots, and then there's those shots that you look like you have mod type 0 and you're firing out as a Yabari, and both of those shells that come out are like they're holding hands going into things. And that is the Colorado. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't know why it happens, but that is the you have the German battleship and then you have the Yabari, and how tight those shells can be. That's the trolliness of the Colorado. Man.
Like, I'm honestly thinking about this, and It's going to be very interesting because with the more accurate 406s on the Colorado, it's going to really prepare the player for the newer player for the grind that is the North Carolinas, as they'll have similar sigmas, etc., etc. Now, is this going to be too accurate? Who knows? We'll have to take a look because 406s being that accurate, it spells for a lot of DevStruck cruisers.
Good. They
which
need
is
to
going
get
to be
DevStruck.
yikes.
That's a battleship's job.
I heard that. That's my soul right there, Venom.
Man, it's the battleship's
but
job.
Yeah, I do agree.
I mean,
of course it is. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
In this rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock thing that we got going here, battleships over cruisers. I mean, that's the design. But they also did say in that Anchors Away at Anaheim as well that they were going to look at trying to up the survivability of cruisers a little bit. Better anglings and stuff like that for auto bounces and stuff. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? That's still in the future. That they have not released any more information than that. The scissors, lizard, Spock. That's lizards and Spocks. That's obviously the carriers and so on and so on. All right. So that was
with this buff.
Yeah, go ahead.
It has a lot of potential to kind of ease a player through the tier 6, the growing pains of tier 6 and 7, and into the wonderful fast battleships of tier 8, 9, and 10 for the American lines. This has a lot of potential.
A lot of people hate on the Texas or the New York, excuse me, and the New Mexico, but you'd be surprised at how many good games I had in both of those boats coming up. The New Mexico, I still think, is probably in the top 3 or 4 of the tier 6 battleships realm. The guns are good, and then going to the next tier, it gains a little bit bigger guns, but it loses speed. So it doesn't really keep up. I would like to have seen just a little bit of a speed buff on the Colorado, but hey, you can make it happen. Like I said, just play the middle of the board. Don't play the outside, the extreme outside, like a lot of people do. Don't be a 10-line guy on the Colorado and then complain that you don't get no damage because you're way out of the game. So anyway, Sigma buff on the Colorado, going to be a good thing, I think. All right, moving on. The Kiev. Now we're going to get into the next 3 boats are all Russians, Russian boats, which I don't know, man. These things are really strong to begin with. I don't know why they would need to buff them, but they're going to do it anyway. The Kiev, you will now have a choice if you want to take Repair Party and or Smoke, which I'm okay with that because I love repair parties on the trash can and the kebab. You're right. So you're going to get 2 heals. You're going to get a 28-second heal, 0.5% HP per second. You will have with Repair Party 1, it's a 120-second cooldown and a 80-second cooldown with the Premium Repair Party. And if you're not running Premium Repair Parties, don't be a cheap captain, guys. Pony up the 2250 for the next one, or the 22500. A healing or smoke choice on the Kiev, man.
It's going to be a good transition from the Minsk to the Kiev for people wanting to grind the Destroyer Leader line, which is the Khabarovsk and the Tashkent. That's going to be very, very nice for players to get into that easy transition. It'll give the Destroyer a little more survivability, and it'll become a bit more of a menace when top tier. So, for example, the Kiev gets into tier 6 to 8 matchmaking.
It's dirty.
Oh boy, we're gonna see some nasty numbers.
It can do good in tier 10 anyway. It can do. I'm sorry, guys, but the Russian boats, to me, they take off at tier 8. Anything before tier 8, I don't even care about. The Minsk can go sit and spin, but the tier 8 DDs and both sides are just 8, 9, and 10 are just absolutely phenomenal boats all the way down the rest of the line. And this is going to make this one even stronger. The Kiev, I had no issues playing through this. It got me into playing a play style that I wasn't really too sure about, and it was very comfortable. The range is plenty. Now you're having an option to survive a little bit longer and amount some more damage as you're going just by holding that button down and staying max range. It's really, 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 really dope. So good on them for that one. Any more thoughts on the Kiev before we move on?
the Kiev, it's going like it's going to give it definitely a lot of monstrous power when it's top tier. But when bottom tier, I do think it'll give it a more survivability and potentially um it'll be a more of a threat to tier 9 and 10 ships simply because of that heal, because it has longevity, and that potentially could see more tournament play from that boat simply because of its heal, which will be really nice.
I like it. They can't go wrong given buffing these Russian bias boats here. All right, Ognivoy. The Ognivoy is guaranteed. It's not changing anything. We're adding something to this boat. We're adding an extra slot. Not only that, it is also getting a heal with 2 repair parties. You have no choice on it. You're getting this heal whether you like it or not. So you just take this heal and accept it and be an Ognivoy.
I like this buff a lot, actually.
I like it too. I play this thing up close, man. I play this thing up close.
Like the Ognivoy. For those of you who didn't know, there was a test boat in rotation at tier 9 called the Nostroshimi. Now, this is basically an improved Ognivoy. So, I got to play this one. I'm not sure if you got to play it as well, Venom. I think you did.
I never did. Right? I never played it.
Okay. Remember, so this boat called the new. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Nutrisystem. Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the Nostroshimi, it's basically a Grozovoy and an Ognivoy had a baby. So it has the Grozovoy guns, but it has the layout of an Ognivoy.
And the AA.
The AA on that thing, it's pretty good. It's nothing to gawk at, like, oh my god, this thing's overpowered, but it's definitely something that can shred planes at similar tiers. With the Ognivoy getting a buff like this with the heal, you will see a similar. If you like the Ognivoy playstyle now, wait until it gets this heal. You will have so much more longevity. You'll be able to survive longer into games. You'll be able to if you're spec for full AA as well, you'll be able to shoot down planes as well. And if you're planning to get the Nostroshimi, whatever it may be available for, the Ognivoy captain will transfer right into your Nostroshimi. So you can, if you like the Ognivoy, you'll love the Nostroshimi.
Dope. And moving on to the next one, the Udaloy is also getting the same extra heal slot. So the Udaloy is already ridiculously good anyway. So they're actually giving it even more power, which I think is okay because with the Kitakami or the Kitakaze out there, the Akazuki, the Hairy Gumbo, I have a hard time fighting these things in things that aren't those Japanese gunboats. They are just so
Agreed.
strong, and I think that their armor is really overpowering for a destroyer, like especially if you're trying to fight them as a gearing, or they're really hard to beat. And that's what's gonna separate them just a little bit further. Overall, fine. That's good for the boats. How does it match for the game? We'll have to see when it comes out. I don't know, man. It's kind of frustrating to sit here and see this and see the power creep go continuously into that direction again.
So with the Udaloy and the Ognivoy buff, so talking about both of them, again, it's going to be a very, very good transitional play up to the end result, which would be the Khabarovsk and the Grozovoy in this case. So with this buff coming in, getting this extra heal, it'll give Udaloy players a bit more reason to be aggressive, a little more room for error, and just an overall better feel for when they get the Grozovoy, which is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, tier 10 destroyers in the game currently.
Definitely strong. In the end, it's going to break down into a personal preference, regardless of the stats or regardless of your feelings on the statement there. But in the end, it's a personal preference. There's a lot of boats out there that I can't stand. A lot of people like, and there's a lot of them like the Udaloy that I loved. I had no problems playing through that one or the Trash Can or any of those other ones. That I love them, and people hate them. People hate those boats, but either way, those buffs are heal all over the place. So go gadget Russian destroyer buffs. All right, moving back to tier 7, Nagato's getting a reload buff from 32 to 30 seconds, which puts it put you back in line. I mean, Nagato is not. This is an interesting boat here, man. This is an interesting boat. I could not stand this boat when I played through it, man. I could not stand it. I couldn't hit anything. It was like same thing with the Amagi, man. Like every other game was good, had good consistent dispersion. The next game you couldn't hit anything. So we go from 140,000 to 40,000 damage. And hey, 30-second reloads, I'm all for it. Whatever. I mean, will I play it again? Probably not. But I'm still probably hey, if I don't play the Nagato, okay, fine, let's do it. Now I'll actually get some more shots out there. Maybe it'll average out as it will on the actual shots here.
Now with the Nagato buff.
Yeah.
Now with the Nagato buffs, Nagato, in my opinion, was already a very, very strong battleship because of its accuracy. I really, personally, I didn't experience any of the stray shots. In fact, I'd actually say the worst accuracy at tier 7 will probably go to the Naizenau, even though I do enjoy playing that boat, which is weird. I don't know why.
Man. My man B6. Hey man, how's it going, B6? He loves that thing, and that's one of his highest accuracy rated boats is the Naizenau.
Like I've taken a real liking to it myself. I've been playing it to I guess pad my average damage and stuff like that, and pad my PR because I'm a stickler for that. But the thing is, I'm not playing a boat that I don't enjoy. I'm playing the Naizenau because I really do enjoy it. I've dev struck people at 18 kilometers with that thing. It's incredible. But the thing is, it goes from dev striking cruisers at 18 kilometers to bracketing a destroyer at 4, and that's kind of like.
That's the frustration part about main. That's a frustration part about main battery guns on the battleships that drives me nuts, man. It drives me absolutely nuts. You need to do the damage. It's not there for you when you need it. So I really don't count on. I really don't count on the Nagato or the or 15-inch guns generally. But that that's another story for another time. So Nagato getting a buff. It's good buff for the Nagato, I think. I mean, it needs help. It needs a little bit of help. It's not much help that it's getting, but it's still some help.
I'm not sure if it really did need it after this update goes live. We'll show if it was deserved or not. If we see a massive like spike in damage and average damage for this boat, then I think it may be slightly overtuned. But we will wait to see.
So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right, the next one is the key is getting a buff. It's getting a couple of buffs, and this is actually an interesting buff, I think. Is it necessary? I don't think so. But main battery reloads going from 31 seconds down to 30. It's fine. It evens it out with everything else there. The torpedoes are going from 6 kilometers to 10 kilometers. And they're getting
I really like this.
They're lowering the speed from 63 seconds to 63 knots to 62 knots. So they're a little bit slower. And then the damage is getting a massive increase here. 14,000 to 17,233 damage for the key torpedoes. I am all for this, man. Anytime that you control with a battleship that has torps, woo, baby. How many people actually play this boat right now? Raise your hand.
I actually do. I played
it a few times. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the torpedo angles are ridiculously good. Aren't they in the back of the boat anyway?
They're in the back of the boat, and they have extremely good arcs up to the point where you like if you're brawling somebody, you'll have to wait a second longer in comparison to the turpets, but you can still torp them in a brawl. Now, one of the things that I'm really, really excited about this buff for the torpedoes, getting that extra range, is what a lot of people don't realize is that the key is not an Amagi class battleship or battle cruiser. It is completely different. In terms of armor, where the Amagi has better armor, where the key is very squishy all over. With this, it allows the key to utilize another piece of its offensive power while still keeping itself safe, which is, in my opinion, huge for that ship. And the reload buff from 31 to 30, again, it's a single second. It's kind of negligible, but at the same time, yeah, boy, I like this.
So there's one thing to note about the key. It is not tanky at all. It just does not have the Amagi tankness of that big, fat, thick bottom that Amagi got. It does not take damage very well at all. So it's not a real pusher. But if you have to, and you have to put yourself into that position, you are you are good to go, and you can actually do some serious damage with your torpedoes coming up, man. It's I'm impressed. I can't wait till they actually implement this, and so I can actually play around with it more. And in fact, I probably will start playing around with it a little more just to figure a little bit more out about the boat and see how it plays, so I can just move up a little bit there.
It's great to compliment it. It's just I can't wait for this buff. It's a battleship I want to love, but it's kind of like that one girl that you were dating back when you were younger. It's like you really like her, but you don't want to be caught in public with it.
She's the moped.
That kind of thing. Exactly.
She's a moped. Yeah, it's fun to ride, but no, you don't want to get caught riding one around. Okay, I got you.
Precisely.
And so let's see. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got one more buff coming up, guys. And this one here, personally, I don't think needs to happen, but a lot of people do. I never understood why people complained about the Izumo, because I had nothing but fun in that boat. And once I figured out that if you shot just a little bit higher, instead of hitting for the waterline, shoot about halfway, I would not drop shots into the water. And I actually started obliterating people with the Izumo. All right, so the Izumo Sigma is going from... the Izumo Sigma is going from 1.8 to 2.0. Now, this thing just received a buff not too long ago, the 32 millimeter deck pin, so it could survive a little bit longer versus these highfalutin IFHE slinging everything out there, because everything uses HE. So that was a good buff, and now they're trying to make it. They're trying to make it a little bit more stable with its accuracy. A lot of people have complained about its accuracy, but I never really saw it because I enjoy the front turret gun only boats. You know, the Dunkirk, the Nelson, I think is fantastic. The Richelieu, those type of boats always really suited me pretty well, I thought. And this is just another accuracy buff for the Izumo. It's going to make people happy. It's also going to make a lot of people angry. What do you think?
I think this buff was kind of like to help players grinding the line become more comfortable with the line in order to get to the end product. It's going to be the same thing that I mentioned with the Khabarovsk and the Grozavoy line buffs. It's the same thing. So basically, the guns are going to be a little more accurate, and this is kind of like an indirect nerf to cruisers. Like the Izumo, usually you can disrespect an Izumo, and you can just laugh at him while you rain on him and burn him from stem to stern.
Right.
But now, people are going to have to watch out for it, because like that extra 0.2 in Sigma, it's gonna be a crusher. And with the upcoming ranked battles coming up at tier 9, if this goes live before then, it's gonna be a good time for all the Izumo players, a bad time for all the disrespecting cruiser players.
Agreed. Overall, is it a good buff? It is for the Izumo players. Anybody out there that has enjoyed the Izumo in the past, you're gonna love it even more. Anybody that struggled with it, I recommend jumping back into it and playing it some more and really put it through its paces. You're not a sniper. You're not a pusher. You're a mid-range fighter. If you play a mid-range fighter, you play it just off a bow, not directly bow in, but just off a bow. You're gonna have a lot more success in the Izumo than you were before. All right, boys, so that segues us out of all of the buffs and into one real quick thing that we forgot to talk about in the news that you just brought that up. Tier 9 arms race rank season. Give me your battleship, cruiser, and destroyer of choice.
All right, battleship. This one's going to go without saying, the Mighty Mo, simply because of its utility and its ability to influence a game so incredibly strongly. Now with cruisers, it's a bit of a toss-up. I really am either thinking the Rune or the Saint Louis, but the 07 tractor farmer in me is saying Saint Louis 110%, simply because of the reload booster and the potential burst that ship can crank out. Destroyer-wise, that one's a no-brainer, the Kitakaze, but however, I could consider running a Yugumo.
All right, so for me, battleship, choose any one of them. Even the Freddy, the Groper has a place here in this rank season. the boats at tier 9, every one of them is viable. It becomes a personal preference in the end. But my personal preference would probably be the Missouri. The radar is too strong. It's got too much utility, and plus you're going to gain a whole lot of credits during this thing and free XP. It's going to be dope. For cruisers, any of these cruisers are good as well. The Ibuki's going to be nice on the flanks. The St. Louis is going to be nice on the flanks. The long range cruisers are going to be nice out on the flanks. If you were going to play up close to the islands, any one of the Americans would be fine. The Neptune has a place here. Radar Neptune has a place here as well. So my choice, St. Louis, hands down. That's just, it's too strong. The AP on it is ridiculous from range, and the HE on it is even more ridiculous up close. IFHE that son of a bitch and go to town. As for destroyers, I got to go with the black. I earned that thing. I might as well play it. Radar, smoke, slopedos. Don't care about the slopedos anyway, but hey, black is my choice, man. But either one of them.
Very strong utility.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong utility.
That or the Chung Mu. As for now, the bottom of the barrel for you guys, for your top 3 bottom of the barrel.
Let's see. Bottom of the barrel. If the buffs don't go live, I would definitely say for GDs, the Russians, the Tashkent and the Udaloy. Even though the Tashkent does have a heal and it has IFHE potential, I don't think in the specs that it's most in the captain specs that it's most utilized. I don't think it'll be too much of a factor. Like, it'll be a great harasser. If you can force DCPs and burn down, that's playing the long game. But what people want to do in ranked is they want to win the game as quickly as possible to move on to the next star. So, in my opinion, the Tashkent and the Udaloy are going to be very weak as destroyers. Now, some people may disagree with me here, but for cruisers, I do think that the Ibuki and the Neptune may be at a bit of a disadvantage. The Ibuki is because it's so fragile. Now, I know that it got buffs with its guns, which make it all the much better. Trust me, those guns are lethal now. For example, in my Otago, I 2-salvoed a Salem with its AP. That's how accurate the guns are. The whole IJN gun buff was amazing. However, being fragile in a game mode like this in ranked, it's not something you want to look for unless you can speed tank like the San Luis can with a speed boost mod, etc., etc. Now, that's what I'm going to think is weak. Now, moving on to battleships. This one's a bit of a tough one. I do think the Lion will be one of the choices that will be kind of weak, as well as possibly the Alsace. Now, I want to say the FDG will be thrown in there as well, but it has tankiness. It has turtleback. The only reason that I'm saying the Alsace will be weak is because of its plating. It can be pinned everywhere by HE, and that's where it could fall short. Sure, it has a great reload, but it's been nerfed. It's not the Borgape anymore. Remember, it's not the Borgape. The Borgape is amazing. Just ask Venom. Him, and Citizen.
It's still got those ridiculously AP pen guns on it, so it's gonna be powerful if you want to play it. Go ahead. It does not tank, guys. It is not a tanking boat. It is a flanking. It is out on the edge, cross-shotting monster. That's where the Alsace shines.
With the Alsace, it's going to you need to push at the right time. It's a very, very timing centered boat. With its plating like that all over, you'll be eaten alive by people with San Luis, IFHE Kitakazes, etc., etc. So in my opinion, it will not be very strong unless it is played properly with the proper comp.
Right. In the end, the Lion is a long game player. The longer the game goes, the better the Conqueror gets. The longer the game goes, the better the Lion gets. So if you're playing a long game, fine. Then that one, you are just mentally know that if you're going to play a Lion, you are playing for a very long game. You're talking 18 to 20 minutes of a game to where it really shines. You can knock out some health. You can knock out some heals. You can just out-heal these guys. It's not a pusher. You can use your AP on cruisers. It does some pretty nasty work with its AP, but it is definitely a long game. My bottom of the barrel battleship would probably have to be the Freddy. I'm sorry, man. I just cannot get behind anything of these German battleships, man. They're just everything else is just better, more utility, and that's so. Freddy's at the bottom of the barrel. I can understand that, but take into account
IFHE secondaries. All the secondaries get quarter pen now on that thing, and it could be a potentially very strong cap pusher, especially with the hydro if used correctly. But I can understand why, because the main battery is junk.
The main battery, I mean, there's no reason to ever put on the big guns on that thing. No reason, and especially if you're grinding through that thing. Don't even waste the 35,000 experience. That's 35,000 more experience that you have to gain to get to the GK, and the GK is still is a lot better. But either way, that's besides the point. The problem I have with secondaries in this instance is that it doesn't do damage fast enough. I mean, the damage is nice, but it doesn't do damage fast enough to be important. Now, late game push is fine. You have to deal with them, and they are deadly there. But for the most part, it's the bottom of the barrel because it's a very one-dimensional boat. Yeah. And in rank season, in my experience in rank season, the more utility you have, the stronger that boat is. As for bottom of the barrel and the destroyers, I mean, it's... any one of these destroyers would be probably pretty good. Tier 9, trash can probably be the worst, I think, unless you're flanking with a St. Louis or an Alsace on the outside. You're really not doing much, and you're just holding the button down, and you're not going to be able to contest caps very easily because you're spotted from the moon. So I think the trash can's probably my choice for bottom of the barrel on that. Some things we didn't talk about. What about the premiums here? Kronstadt, you're going to see a lot of those. You're going to see John Bart. You're going to see a lot of those. That although it does suffer from the same thing that the Alsace suffers from, it does not tank at all. So you're going to lose out. But if you want to set some fires really quickly and knock the hell out of some cruisers, go for it. As for the other ones,
I do think we will see a lot of Musashis simply because the allure of Lolpen is incredible. And actually, I am considering like putting my Clan Wars captain onto my Musashi just so I can. Like if the Missouri ain't cutting it with its utility, then brute forcing through something with those big guns, you can't ignore it.
People are going to play it anyway.
Yamato at tier 9.
It's like yeah, exactly, and that's exactly right. Yamato at tier 9. You saw how many games did it take Homie to rank out in the last tier 10 ranked season in the Yamato? Like 60 games or something. It was ridiculously fast, man, and it was all Yamato because it can tank and he knows how to fucking play it. And not only that, but he knows how to shoot. He knows how to shoot. That's all you got to do. Know how to shoot in that boat. You're going to dominate. You're going to dominate the world. Also, a sleeper here. My sleeper here is the Buffalo. Buffalo is phenomenal boat. Its AP is ridiculous, so don't sleep on that one. So there you go. There's our real quick review of rank season tier 9 coming up whenever they decide to do it, whenever they decide to put it on. But that's the next one. All right, so a couple of nerfs here. We're getting a nerfs across the board from the Alaska, the Azuma, the Kronstadt, and the Stalingrad. Their nerf is a 60-second fires. That's right. They were set up as 45-second fires. They have moved them up to 60-second fires, so the fires will actually be more effective. With these boats supposed to be super cruisers, this is their explanation. This is their explanation on mine is that the Azuma, Alaska, Kronstadt, Stalingrad, they are super cruisers. They need to have that higher fire duration to balance it out a little bit.
Like with these fire buffs, the statistics being pulled from them right now. So we're looking at the dev blog right now, and one of the posts says that they have better survival rates during long battles. That's only because a lot of STs and CCs have been playing those boats in order to get the most out of those boats in order to get proper information offensively about it. The reason why people like STs and CCs play these boats very conservatively in order to get into the late game is because we hate being focused. Because I want to see how many people in chat, like inadvertently or not, have you done this? Oh, I see a new boat on the other side. I want to be the first to kill it. Like these buffs, I have a feeling are kind of these nerfs are kind of like they're the product of that. And it kind of upsets me to see that because I do find myself on fire a lot when I was playing the Alaska and the Azuma, but only time will tell. I do think 60 seconds may be a little excessive. But once these ships hit the live servers in many numbers, we'll see those survivability numbers going down, and hopefully Wargaming and the dev team will fix these nerfs.
I don't know if this is a direct nerf. I mean, well, it is a direct nerf to all of these things and their survivability, but I mean, you got to admit, man, they're pretty damn strong, bro. I mean, like, I know the Kronstadt and Stalingrad. I have not had a chance to play against Alaska or Azuma, but holy crap, these things, man, they just don't take damage very often. And the only way to kill them is to counter them with a high HE damage, and that is, guess what, the Conqueror. And
I mean, we do take a lot of HE damage.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying it's okay. I mean, it's 15 seconds on the fire, but they're kind of putting it up. It's not a cruiser. It's not a battleship. It's a battle cruiser. It's somewhere in between. And 45 seconds was the lower end of it, so they put it up to the higher end of it. And I also think in Wargaming's Infinite Wisdom, man, they like to go to the full extremes. All right, they go way high or way low, and they nerf it to the ground, or whatever they're going to do. So we'll see. We'll see if it pulls back down after these things, after we actually get our hands on it and actually able to play it and see survivability.
It's really kind of for lack of better phrasing, just really crap that they're doing this to the Azuma and the Alaska, because the Azuma, it's basically a mini Yamato, but it does not have armor like a Yamato. I cannot count how many times I've been sit through the booty with that thing. And with the Alaska, it's not really as strong as people make it out to be. Now, there are some players out there that are playing it. Business 6, Viirtual, and that one guy that got it on through Reddit. The Alaska, in my opinion, is still a bit of a disappointment. I don't think people will be happy about it, because it doesn't do damage. Yeah. Because here's what they're going to do. They're going to immediately compare it to Russian battlecruisers like the Kronstadt and the Stalingrad, which,
be different.
Comparing an Alaska to the Stalingrad is completely out of line and not a valid comparison, because there's a tier difference and you get different ways and the different mechanics. Now, if you compare it to the Kronstadt can sit at El Montanas at max range. Alaska cannot. So
it's a frustrating thing.
People are upset about that, but it's a different play style with the Alaska, and I understood how to play her when I have her. I actually have one in my port for final testing purposes and making videos and stuff like that. But it's going to be a bit of a shocker for the general public.
I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit disappointed in it, but like anything, people aren't going to like it. There's going to be some people out there that absolutely love it. People are going to love this thing. Now, it does not pin like, it's got the same size guns, 305s, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's got the same size guns, but different shell calibers, all right? So you got the Stellanium shells on one side, and you got the American shells on the other. It does not hit as hard, guys, so you'll have to aim it different, and you'll have to play the boat completely different. Now, that's one thing that people have this idea, and they get their expectations up on one thing, and so go into it with an open mind. That's what I say. I have not played it yet, so I really can't attest to it. All I can do is watch Senpai and all these other guys play this boat and be like, hey, what about this? And then pick their brains afterwards. And that's kind of what I've been doing, and I'm excited for it. Why? Because more content. Because I'm always trying to suck up more content. All right, so there you go.
There is one thing, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
If one will compare play styles with the Kronstadt and the Alaska, the Kronstadt, you can go for citadels on battleships. If you're shooting at a battleship and it's broad to an Alaska, aim for the upper belt. You'll have more success. Think of it as
German battleship.
Think of shooting at German battleship. Go for the upper belt. Smack it for full pen damage. Who cares if you can heal it back? That just means more damage for you and better PR, better WTR, better base XP for you. So just make sure you're not aiming for the Citadel on battleships of higher tier or equal tier.
Just understand that. Just think of it that you're a German battleship like Bismarck, Eisenhower. You're not going to get the full pins that you would normally do. Pick your shots, make your shots count, and aim for that upper armor belt. Smaller gun caliber sizes. That's what you do with these, and French battleships as well. All right, so let's go into I want to say a hot button topic here. as we move on. Guys, like I said, we're hanging out with my man, Virtual Senpai, twitch.tv/Virtual Senpai. Hit him up on his Twitter at Virtual Senpai with 2 eyes. And right here, as you guys can see on the screen. Hot button topic. There's a lot of background to this that I want to get through, and then we'll talk about the actual change. Radar is going to get a change. They said they said that they knew that there was a problem with it. They have tried a few different fixes for it, and they did not work. So they've tried this one. This is their next iteration. Their first iteration was to change the line of sight value. So I've always been a proponent of saying, I don't care if the radar can go through islands. That is not the biggest problem with radar. So you guys out there, calm down. It's not a problem. They said that they tried that, but it made the radar ineffective. So radar being what it is, and they didn't want to nerf it into the ground, that was out the window. It's gone. So don't even complain about it anymore. It's gone. The next change they did was they were looking at maybe taking the dispersion factor and making the dispersion worse if the boats were under radar. Well, there was never a good sweet point balance to this thing. It was too good to where they didn't get any damage and then the radar was wasted, or it was not good enough and the destroyer still got obliterated by everybody else. So this is where our third iteration of this change comes in, to where they are going to detected ships who have the radar on them. All right, let's say you're a Demonies, and there's somebody in the cap, and there's a DD there. You pop your radar, the Demoni, hey, guess what? He's going to see you immediately. There is a delay in the detection for the guy sitting right next to him.
I think that's going to be a bit of a, it's going to be kind of similar, because it's like, for example, it's like relaying information to the fleet, like the radar ship. Oh, I picked this up, and this target is there, there, and there. So the rendering delay will be a bit of a good thing, because it'll not only give these ships that are radared a better chance to escape, because we've all been in that position where, oh crap, we're caught with our pants down and we're unable to escape. I know there was a situation, remember on Sea of Fortune, where you, me, and Citizen were playing, and I was in the Grozavoy, and I got caught with my pants down in the B cap, but I still survived it because I was able to outrun it. If the rendering delays come in, I would have gotten out of there with more HP.
You would have gotten out of there, and it would have been less effective, and that's fine. The problem that I have seen about radar in the 2.5, almost 3 years now that I've been playing this game is that there's too much of it. It goes too long and lasts. It goes too far and lasts too long. This is actually good. I remember when the smoke change came out, I was a big proponent of, we have the mechanics in the game already for a cyclone. Why did we not make that guy push in to see this boat? Right, 7.7 kilometers or whatever it is on the Kudasov. While he's sitting in the smoke, you can see this guy. Well, the guy at 15 kilometers can still see him too, and he gets rewarded for that. I hated that aspect of the smoke change. So force these guys to come in, push these guys in. Now, this is a little bit different, but I'm okay with this, because the guy at 18 kilometers doesn't immediately get rewarded by being able to unload whatever he can. If he hits him or not, doesn't matter, but he is able to. There's a potential there for that reward. So I think it's a good change. I think we'll have to see. We do not know the numbers, the values. They have not released any of the information on the values. This is just preliminary. This just letting everybody know that, hey, this change is coming down the pipe. Get ready for it. And for all you other naysayers or proponents of, I can't go through islands, zip it, because it doesn't matter anymore. They've already thrown that out the window. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
like if you want a simulator, if you want like a full sim, go play War Thunder.
no,
War Blunder.
Don't go play War Thunder. Stay here and play ships and just accept what's coming down the pipe. The next thing is they will be shown out without a delay on your minimap. So if something is spotted, boom, it's going to show up on your minimap. So if you have last known positions and minimap names, you can know a little bit what it is on the map. It will show up immediately. And then this has also reduced the offensive/defensive capabilities of the radar. Kind of putting it back into perspective where radar just rules the roost right now. If you're radared in ranked season, especially in ranked season, radar is such a hard thing to play against as a DD, and the DDs needed this buff. They needed it, and I'm all for it. Let's go. Let's see how it works, and then well, that's it. that's it. That's all for the radar change. I'm interested in you guys' questions, comments, and concerns. I'm all for this radar change, man. And they did need to do something, and I'm glad that they are listening to the community. Maybe not exactly the way we wanted it to, but it's going to be something that fits into the mold of the game. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this as a newfound Groz main for Double O's Bravo team. I'm very, very excited for this because that'll give me a little more capping potential as well as more freedom in Clan Wars. Because in a format like that, I'm sure you know radar is, for lack of better phrasing, cancer, and it's a terrifying thing. Same with Hydro;
rough.
It's a horrible thing.
Well, I mean, the worst thing that you can do is go in there. Okay, there's nobody here. I'm gonna go get this cap. You go put your nose into that cap. Boom! Here comes the radar, and you got 7 people looking at you, already shooting at you, and you're dead before you even get a chance to do. There's no counter for it, and that's the biggest problem I have with it. There's no counter. You cannot counter radar other than being at 10 kilometers. So now we're going to slow the game down a little bit more just so I can get out at 10 kilometers, just so I'm not spotted, wait a minute and a half, and then go back in. And guess what? There's another radar. And now it's like there's no point. I mean, it's just like, what the hell am I even playing this game for if I can't even try to play at all, because it's taking out of my hands. Now, if I make a mistake and I die, that's fine. That's on me. But if you're not letting me play the game, that's the most frustrating feeling about this game that I have, especially with the CVs being one shot at tier 8 by a midway. You know, when you have, there's nothing you can do. So you pull that ability from this player to play the game, and there you go. So there you go. Guys, if y'all have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and type them in now. We will go to our question Q&A section here with my man Viirtual Senpai right now. Woo! You got any questions, man?
And let us reiterate, guys, that we do not know when the Alaska is being released. I've seen a couple people asking. We don't know.
They don't
even
know.
If we did know, even if we did know, we wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well, I don't know. Flat out, I
don't know either.
I don't know. They have. I've been reading the last week. I have just kind of getting the feel of the community contributor role that I need to play here, and I've been looking at all this. I don't know what you want to call it, rhetoric or whatever that's going back and forth from the devs to people and all this other stuff, and there's nothing about it. And if there was. Well, unless they say, hey, you guys can say it, well, there you go. But there is none right now, so don't even ask about that one. All right, so let's go into the first question here.
No idea.
No idea. Your patience for ranked, Kronstadt, or Rune, and why? My preferences? Kronstadt or the Rune? The Rune.
That's an easy one.
The Rune is more versatile than the Kronstadt is. Plus, it can push in if it needs to.
I can see why. Both are very excellent choices, and in my opinion, they're very, very tough to decide between the two. With the Kronstadt, you technically get an extra battleship, which is kind of cool and provides that extra firepower of a battleship in a cruiser slot, and you also get the radar. Now, with the Rune, you have that staying power, you have that tankiness, you have that that DPM, that quarter pen HE that is so great with German ships. So, yeah.
Quarter pen.
It's great.
Quarter pen.
Both ships are very good choices.
On that. All right, so here's the first question, or first comment, basically. Bob the Blob says, Buffs, all the DDs get 75% increased torpedo speed and 50% increased damage. All the other ships get half their current speed with 50% increased rudder shift and half their HP that they used to.
You're funny.
Classic wargaming balance. There you go. Revan6 says, give all the battleships the same time of DCP that the October has, minus the number of the kits, I'm assuming. Limited number of the actual repair parties. That's something interesting. That's something interesting. I actually do enjoy the Russian that October Revolution repair party. It's interesting, and it makes for a very survivability intensive boat. Now, is this going to be a flavor for those boats moving forward?
Who knows? We have no idea. I mean, it could be.
I haven't seen any information on it. That would be an interesting thing, but I think that would make Russian battleships extremely strong, a little bit overpoweringly strong.
Well, they're supposed to be powerful now.
But you can't kill them. I mean, if you're going to be on fire, but I don't know, you're going to have to really, really burn through these. Because that dude's got what, 7 or 8 charges on that repair party.
It just simply will not die.
Can you imagine a tier 10 Russian battleship? Can you imagine the Yamato with 8 or 10 charges on that thing? Just to hit willy-nilly?
I mean, no. Imagine a Conqueror. It would not die.
I don't know, man. Let's see. All right, moving the next one here. How can they set fires? How can they say fires are to counteract battleships? Everything in the game, it counteracts the battleship. Well, because that's the cruiser's only defense, and how are they going to farm damage?
Exactly. There's no if a cruiser shoots AP at a battleship, they're going to shatter shells. It's not a one shell fixes all the problems. I mean, HE the only thing that boats get, and it's really, really unfortunate. But with cruisers, it's kind of their go-to, and the only way I can kind of tell people how to counteract it, and a lot of people aren't going to like this, but manage your damage control party better and manage your positioning better. That's the best way to do it. Don't DCP 2 fires right away in front of a fire breather. Get at an angle where you're running away and getting out of his range / line of sight, and then press your R key. Never, ever damage control a single fire, and you can sometimes actually get away with burning with a double fire if you're spec'd correctly. I know I've gotten away with it sometimes because, I mean, if I'm spec'd for it, why not? I'll just let those fires burn. I'll just heal them back. Here, remember, all fire damage and all flooding damage is 100% healable. So it's not a big deal if you manage your cooldowns correct.
Don't panic. Sometimes it's inevitable you're going to get set on fires. You're going to get set on fires anyway. Just understand that you're going to get set on fires. Trust me, if you're anything like me, I get set on fires 90% of the time. Anyway, moving on. Trilomar says, aren't there some ships that make the fire chance ridiculous, like Harry Gumbo, Kitakami, or Kitakaze, whatever, what's it called? Kitakaze? They're
now, if
not
I may,
necessarily, technically, those boats don't have a very high fire chance. It's just the fact that they could spit out that much guns. I mean, like, even the Worcester is technically a better fire starter, but it's still really, really low. We're talking like Conquerors at 60% or 45% fire chance. That's ridiculous.
Remember, it's all quality over quantity. Where you compare a Conqueror, a 457 Conqueror, which has quality of fire chance, which is like a 60+%. Whereas you have for example, a 100mm HSF Harakaze with fire flags and demo expert is at about a 7% fire chance if you have IFHE on it, which most captains will run. So remember, it's all about fire rate, quality, and quantity. There's no like super fire starter. It's all really just chance. And remember, with fast firing ships that has shoot many rounds per minute. Remember this saying: you throw enough shit at a wall, something's gonna stick.
Yeah, throw enough at a wall to stick. Unless you're Sirvenom, where Senpai, I don't know if you know this, but I have like the world's best record for fire chance in the Worcester. 150 HE shell hits, 1 fire.
It's happened to me too in the Akazuki back in the day. It's happened to me.
That's a DD and that's an Akazuki. I don't really get a whole lot of fires in my gunboaty DDs like that, but 150 hits on a cruiser that's supposed to be a flamethrower. Man, my RNG is just bad. All right, so the next question is Tasman. Well, it's a comment. Says, stop all the damn buffs. How about releasing the ships that have been tested? Stop messing with the ships.
Because one thing about that,
done with the testing process yet, and some things are a little bit strong, and they need to adjust some to make some stronger. So there you go.
Precisely, like we need that's why there are multiple testing iterations for every single boat. Like I'm pretty sure the Alaska went through 3 if not 4 testing iterations, so we could make it proper and like work for you guys.
My question to you, Let's put this into perspective here real quick, Senpai. Let's put this into perspective. What was the last ship that they did and they didn't have proper testing on? The Graf Zeppelin. And y'all all know exactly what happened with that thing, man. That was a fiasco. It was terrible. And where's the boat now? They don't want to put something out that's not ready anymore. They've learned their lesson on that. So you don't want another Graf Zeppelin instance there.
Yeah, exactly. We need to make sure that we do not have.
We do not speak.
We don't have another Graf Zeppelin. We don't have another Graf. We don't have another Graf Zeppelin situation. I mean, we already got close with the Stalingrad being released, and everyone got upset about it. But now everybody has it, and now it's not really that big of a deal.
No, I think a lot of the people that complained about it didn't have it because let's look at the choice cut of that pie. That who was playing it? People that grinded out 3 seasons of clan battles, had very good players that have this boat. So any boat that good players are going to play, it's going to seem overpowered. It's not that strong. It's countered very easily. It's very strong, but it's not overpoweringly strong. And so there you go. I mean, people that don't have it, they didn't earn it at that point in time. So, of course, the good players are going to have it, and they're going to make it look good. They're going to make that boat look good. So, I mean, we really can't knock them for it. But either way.
I mean, there's also going to be a little ship envy, too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's always that. Is there going to be new training videos on how to use the new CV setup? I've used the old system, and is the new system... And the new system is way different, a learning curve. Big Red, they have gone through, and I know Warships has put out a lot of videos. There's a lot of community contributors out there that's put out a lot of videos. I think Notzer's put out a bunch. No Zoop has put out a few. You guys have to check out the community contributor portal. Check out the YouTubes. I think Flamew's put out a couple of them. I finally figured out who he was. So there you go. Flambass, Farazalith. I mean, all these guys that have been playing these things, they are putting videos out for them. I do not have any videos. I haven't played them, so I really don't, unfortunately. So there it is. Nightmare. Cruisers are. Ha! Battleships have been pooped on for the longest. Cruisers are going broadside to battleships and barely take any damage, and so on and so on.
No,
trust me.
About that,
the inconsistencies of what the battleship dispersion has become, or you're hitting flat broadside on a target and you're overpinning through the citadel. Now they have said that you cannot overpin a citadel, and I say garbage because I've done it. I swear I've done this thing to where I have 2 shells side by side going in the exact same hole. One of them is a citadel, the other one's just an overpin, and I get 1 citadel worth of damage. I've seen it. I've seen it a lot.
Now I don't want to say battleships are being shit on damage wise because
there's still a lot of damage out there to get. It's just
exactly like.
Right? Go ahead.
I mean, you can give it up to bad RNG, but at the same time, battleships aren't really being shit on. It's the players that are panicking and getting themselves into situations. A lot of the times, I've seen battleships go into a place where, like, on weak flank, they get farmed down and they start screaming in chat about how they had no support. Well, maybe you would have gotten yourself in that situation if you actually read the map and looked at where your teammates were, or actually paid attention to the chat to where your teammates wanted to deploy, or where your strong suits are. Like, if you stick a gross or cur first out in open water, it's not going to do too well because it's not an open water boat. If you stick it in an island chain, that's where its secondaries and its lack of good dispersion and dispersion RNG can do good work. Now, it's players not understanding positioning, as well as the strengths and weaknesses of their boats. They expect a grosser curve to snipe someone at 22 kilometers. Not going to happen. It may happen once in a while, but it's not going to happen a lot. So realistically, it is not the ships; it is the player behind it, and that's where we need to start fixing things.
Well, I agree with some of that, and a lot of that, most of that, but. You are correct in saying that the player needs to look at his play before he starts complaining about the boat or the entire line. I have many times gone into a situation where I should have gotten the damage and I did not get the damage. A la shooting at a destroyer, I'm 3 kilometers away and I hit him for 4 shells and I do barely any damage to the guy. So I mean, and it's not, it's all situational. It's every situation in this game is 100% different. So sometimes you win, sometimes you don't, and then that's some part about this game that I enjoy is that no two games are the same, and whether you make the same shot on a broadside Baltimore from 10 kilometers and you obliterate him off the board, the very next shot that you have is the on the very same guy, and you bracket him and you hit him once in the superstructure. So that's the RNG of battleships in general. I mean, not just. I would love to see more accurate battleships, but you don't. I don't know.
Now, someone in chat brought up so many pens with no damage, like getting zero damage, full pen.
We can do that now. I mean, I had it on the list, but we can go ahead and skip to that one.
Sorry, I was just looking at chat.
No worries,
so
man.
I have actually an explanation behind.
Hang on,
this.
let me read the question first. R. Halberstam says, I just came back to play after a long time being gone for over a year. Can you explain about me getting so many pins with no damage? I got like 15 pins in my last battleship game for no damage. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so a reasoning behind this is what Wargaming doesn't tell you is that each module has a specific hit point value. For example, I was playing my Gneisenau earlier today. I got 2 full pens on an enemy battleship, but I only got 1 pen's worth of damage. Now, that being said, that means you have hit a module, whether that be a secondary battery, an AA battery, etc., etc. Now, that damage doesn't show up because it's torpedo pelt as well. And that's where the damage kind of gets soaked up into. That adds to the tankiness of the ship. Now, you may think like, oh, that's BS, whatever. But just remember, that secondary crew or that AA crew has now been turned into a fine red mist because of your AP shell.
The fine red mist.
So just remember that whenever you get that, it's like, oh, I hit a secondary battery, or I hit the torpedo belt, or I hit an AA battery. Just remember that. Like, you hit them, but you're not doing effective damage.
All right, so
it's superficial.
This leads to another question. Do you think that it would be okay? Now, I don't know. I would like to see a little pop up on something where I've actually hit the guy, because that would alleviate a lot. Okay, well, I hit this. Oh, I transferred into this little guy and I hit him in the citadel and it exploded. Fine, that's where the damage. Now the other damage comes in. The next shot comes in, and then you have the little markers on the ship. You hit right here, bang, no damage. I could get behind this. I don't know how they would implement it, but I could get behind something like that, and it would alleviate a lot of my stress and my anger when I do get, I got 6 shell pins, 0 damage, because I've done it. Everybody's done it, and it happens. I mean, it just happens. It's gonna happen. I don't have a problem with it happening, but I would like to know exactly where I'm hitting this guy. So if that alleviates some of that frustration for people, I totally understand.
Yeah, because I get angry with it as well. Trust me, when I blap someone with a broadside, I'm expecting like 5 digits popping up on my screen, and I only see like a minuscule amount. It's kind of like, hang on. You smell that? That's bullshit.
Throwing up the flags, the BS flags. All right, so the Roadbug says the IJN cruisers got a bit of a niceness last update. That is exactly right. Tier 5 and above got an accuracy buff. Now, they're all as accurate as the Zao is now, which I think is good, especially at Tier 5 and 6. It brings the Furry Taco into line with some really, really good damage. And having those 203s on that thing absolutely smash other cruisers, which is great. And you have with the long reloads, you definitely want to get those accurate shots in there. The Oba is even stronger. It wasn't very strong to begin with, but now it's starting to get to that strong tier 6. Doctor says bracketing a destroyer. Bracketing a destroyer means you fire off your shots. Say you fire off 4 shots, you bracket them. You're either going to go above and over him and under him and not hit him, or front and back to him, or some kind of combination of all 3 of those or both of those. So that's a bracket. How many fish does the key launch? I think it's 3 a side, right?
That is triple launchers per side. So 10-kilometer triple launchers. I mean, the range, I think, is, going back to that buff, I think it's more than welcome, because, I mean, triple launchers, they're not going to be that effective. Like, take into instance the Hatsuharu as well as the Miyoko's triple launchers. Not too effective. but when they hit, are devastating. So if you get hit by one of those, then it's kind of your fault because they're not quads or quints like the Shimakaze or any of the other Japanese DDs, or sextuples if you go into the Kitakaze and the Haraguma.
Listen to you, man. How's the torp angles on the key? They're pretty good. If you guys have ever played a graph spay, they're pretty similar to the graph spay. You have to open up. I think you have to open up about that far. This one being midline, you got to open up that far to get the launcher off. And maybe it's a little bit wider. It's very good, very good. I think what else has got good torpedo? Think Furry Taco with its front firing torpedoes.
Otago has great arcs
Otago
as well.
Yeah. All right, Lambo says, real talk for a second. Can they just not buff the Krispy Kreme? Like it's so encased in a meme hood right now that it can't be any better than it is? Question mark. Krispy Kreme's not terrible. It's just a long-range HE spammer, and if you get up close on somebody and get their broadside, you can AP them down.
I think that's a ton of guns.
Go talk to Mo Like It. He's the number one Krispy Kreme player on the server, and the number
is
one.
He really?
He might be up there in the top 5. I know he's the number one Makarov player in the U.S.
Let
server.
me check. Let me check the Krasny Krim. I'll check it because I'm actually curious.
Because I know he's up there somewhere for damage wise. I don't know. But anyway, we'll let him check that, and we'll move in. Addendum to the previous statement, Lambo 805. Why are some new ships getting retouched before a lot of the older ships that have really been power crept? Shiny Horse Bliss. I don't really think that the Sharn Horse has been power crept. The Sharn Horse is still as strong as it ever was. The Bliss has been, though, and we've already discussed that today on the podcast.
Yeah.
Tasman71 says, hey, Sir Venom or Senpai, when is the Alaska coming out? Sir Venom, have you had a chance to play her yet? And if so, what did you think? I have not had a chance to play her yet, and I do not know, and we do not know when the Alaska is coming out. This is the last question. If you guys have any more questions really quick, go ahead and put them in there, and we'll just read them from the chat here in a second. Mortis Dam says, there is one more important question right now. When will we get Captain Jingles in game? Yo, I don't know. I know
that's a good question.
I know that's something that is supposed to be down the pipeline, but to get modeling and to get pictures and everything like that, it does take time. So I don't know how long it is actually going to take. So
we haven't even found out about that one yet. I mean, Jingles hasn't even said anything about it because remember, they're going to have to travel. He's going to have to travel to St. Petersburg for that.
Yeah.
So we have not heard anything from our Gnomish Overlord yet.
Gnomish Overlord. We don't know.
I mean, we have no idea.
Soon, trademark. All right, so let's go to the chat here. Somebody's asking, James Tiberius says, so a War Thunder type of hitmark. I've never played War Thunder. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. They could show the hit markers where you actually hit somebody after the game in the battle details. Okay. It would be nice to have an option of them and in replays. Gusman Song, that's probably a good idea. I actually like that idea a little bit better. I wish the battle details had the info of what hit types and made each ship pin, overpins, ricochets, etc. Man, I want them to do a lot of this stuff, but let's be real. The UI on this game is not that great.
Yeah,
let's just be fair.
Trashy.
It's not that great, and that's going to be more for that UI to do. It's going to be a pain in the ass. Question for the new players: which nation would you recommend getting into battleships? All right. So I have what I tell people, and this is what I usually tell people when they come into the chat right here at twitch.tv/sirvenomik. The brain dead. You don't have to be very smart to play it. You can be very bad in these things and still get rewarded. British battleships and the German battleships. You don't have to be smart to play these boats at the lower tiers. They are very accessible to new players. They are very good for new players, and those are the two lines that I recommend for it. Once you get into a little bit more skillful, you want to play a little bit more skillful. The French battleships, the American battleships, Japanese battleships, those other three lines, take them up that way. So French, so German and or UK battleships. Your thoughts?
Now, I will agree with the German battleships being very, very forgiving because of their turtle black armor, but I don't think I'd really recommend the British because they promote the HE
spam.
They promote HE spam. Therefore, when a person plays a British battleship first, they'll think, oh, every other line plays like this. Start shooting HE like that as well. So I would recommend staying away from the British battleships to start with, but instead replace the British battleships with the Americans, because the Americans, although not as brain dead as the German, they will teach you certain mechanics that you will need to learn in the future if you decide to go up any other lines, such as the Japanese or the French. Now, they're very well rounded. They take damage. They can dish damage. You have to be a lot smart. You have to be a little bit smarter in these.
Agreed. They do not tank damage until you hit tier 8, though, so be wary of that. Let's see. The next question, it says, Doctor says he would like to know for all classes. I do have a YouTube video on how to choose your next boat, how to choose the next line you want to grind out, and it all depends on how you want to play. You tell us how you want to play, we can put you in something that matches how you want to play. But starters for cruisers, I usually send them to the German line. They're just good all the way up. They're squishy, but they're good. As for destroyers, I send them down the American line, because use your guns, man. Use your guns and play more utility. And if you can play more utility than playing as a torpedo boat as a Japanese is a lot easier if you know how to play as a utility boat. So moving down the next line, when is the next U.S. battleship coming out? I don't know. Alaska, the dev, and we will find out. That's a dad joke.
Also, there was one question there for me. Alan here asked how the G933's power switch.
Uh-huh.
I have had problems with them before, but it's kind of like it's a once in a while sort of thing. So I do have it where it'll be kind of like it'll be fuzzy, but then I just shove it to the left and it's fine. But I have had issues with mine, but it's not too bad of a thing.
Oh yeah, I had the 933s, but I cannot wear them anymore because I wear the domes, so I'm up in the other ones. So either way, any more out there? Somebody asked, what do I think of the black for ranked? I think the black's going to be strong for ranked. The radar gives it a lot of utility. The guns are good. The torpedoes are laughable. But if you want to go gun down somebody else, you can do pretty well in that boat. You're going to have a hard time killing Jutlands. You're going to have a hard time killing Kitakazes. But for the most part, you'll be fine with whatever's out there. Just watch out for those Germans, because that 46 is going to be dirty too.
Ooh, a vigilant spec Z46.
Yep. I'm looking
spicy.
forward to that, because you know me. Let's see. Smed says, the first time catching Across the Pile podcast, very informative and appreciated. You're welcome, man. I do appreciate it, man. Anything else? I have a shimmy and love the torpedo mode of play. I want to start a gunboat line, DD. What is the decent choice to start with? Gunboats, British. Can't complain about them. British or American.
Nah, can't complain. The British and American gunboats are very strong. I
that
do
one.
like them.
Also, don't sleep on the later 8, 9, and 10 of the Kiev
Japanese.
No, the Kiev line. The Kiev line, and but he's already got it. He's got the Shima. So the Harry Gumbo, that line. Pretty much everything else is gunboats. Honestly, let's be fair. Everything else is a gunboat. just how you apply that gunboat is different between the lines. That's it. All right, cool. Thank you guys. We started playing a few days ago, learning with the U.S. and Japanese battleships right now up to tier 4 so far. Loving the game so far, though. Well, hey, man, welcome to World of Warships, man. If you have any questions, man, please head over to twitch.tv/Viirtual Senpai. Hit him up on his Twitter. Come hang out here in this channel. Hit me up on my Twitter. It's all on the screen, and we will get it done. All right, boys, that is it. That is our last question. We've gone 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Decently shorter, yeah.
It's a lot shorter.
than the last one.
Actually, I take it back, because I'm looking at the deal. It says 3 hours 15 minutes. I streamed for about an hour before we started this thing, so we've gone just over 2 hours. So that's great. That's great. Perfect timing, the way we want to. Guys, thank you all very much for watching the Across Your Bow podcast, episode 14. I am sirvenomik. You guys can hit me up right here, twitch.tv/sirvenomik, or on the Twitter at sir_venom_ik. Senpai, tell them where they can reach you.
You guys can reach me here. I'll put them in chat real quick. You can reach me at my Twitter here or my Twitch right there. I am currently grinding for a partner, so if you guys would like to stop by all means, come on by.
There you go.
I'm always ready to help with any new person's questions with the boats. With boats, I am part of one of the top clan organizations in North America. That would be 07 Devastating Strike. I am one of the callers for 007's Bravo team. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever about Clan Wars, about boat mechanics, about what I would prefer, or how to play a certain boat, or how to spec a captain, do let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out.
Absolutely. All right, guys, y'all can hit him up over there on all of his information. If you guys over on YouTube, thanks for watching. If y'all made it this far, all the information that we talked about will be in the description below. We will link it to our channels, his channel, my channel. We'll link to some of the dev blog. And guys, don't forget, check out that dev blog, man. There's a lot of information out there. And we will be back coming up here in a couple of weeks. Check out the social media for updates. I still don't have a guest for next week, so we'll play it by ear, and I'll let you guys know. I love you guys very much. I am Sirvenomik. He is Viirtual Senpai, and we'll see you guys next time here on Across Your Bow.